Dun, dun, dun. All right, why don't we begin?
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna welcome you first.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to the Steel Center discussion, and today we have Siya presenting on celebrating Navratri in Dashain. So let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you, Siya, for being to us.
I'm really excited. Thank you guys so much for coming. This is like a big thing to me because I'm not really religious, but I do like sharing parts of my culture. So this is very important to me. So yeah, Navratri and Dashain. First, let's start with why we celebrate it. Navratri and Dashain are two different holidays. Navratri is celebrated mostly in India, and Dashain is like an exclusively Nepal thing. But I'm Nepali and my family is Nepali, so we celebrate it here. Like we've celebrated it for the past 7 years we've been here. And the reason for both those celebrations is literally the same reason. We just have different celebrations. It's the victory of goodness over evil, and it's the celebration centered around goddess Durga's victory over the demon Mahishasura. So the story of Durga Mata is this is like a really, really important part to all of Hinduism in general, and the story is just really cool. So Mahishasura is a demon, and in Hinduism, if you like pray and meditate enough, like a lot, like for like thousands of years, you can get stuff from gods. That's like the lore. Yeah. You get like you can ask for wishes from gods. And so that's what he did. And he received gifts from Lord Brahma that nearly made him like invulnerable. His whole thing was that no man or god could ever kill him. And considering he's a demon, it was like not very good because he ended up being very arrogant and he kind of had like a reign of terror that like to the point where like gods in heaven were scared of him, and people were already like praying to like get rid of him, but they couldn't because no god or man could kill him. And because of this, the gods went begging to Shakti, which is the divine feminine energy. So there's in Hinduism we have Shiva, which is the divine masculine, and Shakti, which is the divine feminine. And they went to Shakti, the divine feminine, asking for help to defeat this terrible, terrible demon. And so Durga Ma is so Shakti produces Durga Ma, which is like an embodiment of just strength and like divine feminine, basically. And she's so incredibly powerful, and she's literally like riding on a lion, and she has like a trident in her hand. She has like a bunch of arms, and they're all holding a different weapon, and she's so awe-inspiring and also very terrifying at the same time. And so a fierce battle breaks out between Durga Mata and Mahishasura. And after 9 days and 9 nights, on the 10th day, she kills him with a trident, and she stabs him and kills him. And that's kind of what we're celebrating. And Navratri and Dashain are both celebrated because of this victory, and it's the whole idea of, goodness always winning over evil. And as is common in Hinduism, this is like a running theme. It's like whenever evil gets too powerful, you'll see that gods take different forms and they come to earth to try to get rid of it. This is also like seen in the Ramayana. And you can also see it with Krishna's story. It's, again, if evil gets too powerful, they come to the earth to like destroy it. And so let's start with Navratri. It's celebrated in India. Super fun. I have not had any Indian friends take me to like their Garba sessions yet, but sorry. It's okay. I'm not mad about it. Okay, how's Navratri celebrated? Biggest thing I think is fasting. So some people don't eat certain foods like meats. It's especially if people are super religious, eating meat is like a big no in Hinduism. Yeah. But there are some people that'll avoid like some random stuff, and that's
I think they avoid rice and stuff like that.
Yeah. My grandma used to eat like nothing but fruits and water all day. So it's a lot of different it depends on the sect because there's so many sects in Hinduism. But it depends on the sect that you belong in, what you fast and what you don't fast.
Can I ask you a quick question? What are the sects? Because I never thought there were sects in Hinduism.
Well, there's like a caste system, but I don't really believe in that. But my grandma does, and she believes that like people that are like Vaishnavas, they don't eat like any type of meat at all. But there's like different ones. I don't know all of them, but I do know there's different sects. Like There's like the Brahmin that also don't eat any meat at all.
But I think that's like the caste system and sects are different. But anyway, continue with your amazing presentation.
There's also prayer and worship, as with like every single Hindu celebration ever. There's thousands and thousands of temples, like all throughout Nepal and India. Literally so many. Like you will see one in every street corner. And because of that, you can always, especially around this time, you will see a lot of prayers happening, a lot of worshiping, and you usually visit like Durga Mata's temples in order to offer prayer and ask for blessings. Most of the time, it's just strength, and you ask for like strength and courage and all that. And there's also like pujas, which are like rituals that are performed in order to celebrate that. In India, there's also Dandiya and Garba, which I'm like really excited about. I also have a video at the end to show you guys. So this is one of the most popular aspects of Navratri, and it's a traditional folk dance that's performed in open spaces. If you look it up on TikTok, you'll find so many examples, and they're so good. Garba includes dancing in like huge circles, and Dandiya includes using 2 sticks, like you can see the picture. You use like sticks, and it's just really cool to look at, and I want to do it one day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to do, but it's hard.
Yeah, all the dances.
What happens with the sticks?
You have to like do it, like you have like there's like people, and you like do one stick to another person, another stick in like a certain way. You keep dancing around in a circle at the same time. It's a lot. Yeah.
All these dances require way too much work.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to look at. I'm okay at dancing, but not that good. In South India, this thing called Golu is very popular. That's where they display all the idols and figurines of gods and goddesses, and it's often a thing that's kind of like the centerpiece of your house, and then people come to visit it and see how well you made it and all that. That's also really cool to me. There's also decorations. Decorating with flowers and keeping your homes clean is one of like the biggest things in Hinduism. Like anytime there's a festival, my family goes out like a whole spring cleaning thing. Like every crevice is clean, because you're trying to make it like you're trying to make it clean so that you can welcome the goddess into your house. So that's the whole thing. You have to try to keep everything clean and tidy. There's also like cultural performances. In addition to like communities doing Garba and Dandiya by themselves, there's also like big communities that organize this kind of stuff, where they'll have like trained dancers and all that to perform. In order to break the fast that you do every day, there's also amazing feasts. They're very different based on the region, but they're always really, really good. There's also processions featuring idols or images of Durga Mata, and they're carried through the streets, and you can hear like amazing music which we call like bhajans. They're kind of like religious songs, but they're very upbeat, and you can like dance to them.
And they're so nice to listen to.
They are. They're kind of calming sometimes, and you'll see huge processions go on. Like the traffic is terrible during this time because they will not clear the streets. And there's also Durga Puja, which where there's like in the mandirs, there's in the temples, there's these like big figures and idols of Durga Mata, and you like the lines are super long, and you just go and you worship her, and you like touch her feet and ask for blessings. And at the end of all this, the idols are kind of we take them to water, and then we just dispose of them in the water, kind of like asking her to like go back.
And that's also in Ganesh Chaturthi, right? Where you like create a figurine of Ganesh and then put it in the water so it goes.
The whole putting it in the water thing is kind of like you're sending it back to the earth, so she can go back to where she needs to be, and like her space in heaven is not like gone. And there's also Vijayadashami, which kind of concludes Navratri, and it's also known as Dashain. And in this time, we're also kind of celebrating the story of Ram and Ravan. So Ravan was like this huge demon king that was also kind of like Mahishasura. He was like terrorizing over all these people. And Lord Vishnu comes in the form of Ram to like defeat him. And we're also kind of in addition to celebrating Durga Mata, we're also celebrating Ram himself. Next, let's move on to Dashain, which is celebrated in the fall. I haven't heard of this being like northern India kind of as well, because it's kind of sharing the border. But I don't think I've heard about this being celebrated anywhere else. How is Dashain celebrated? It's kind of in a similar sense. But worship begins with planting barley seeds in like a special tiny little sand area, and we call it zamara. And these are like barley seeds that haven't like they're like barley shoots, and we nurture them and grow them in preparation for the festival. And we have like a shrine in our house where we offer prayers and we perform rituals, and it's just like it's a lot of praying and a lot of candles. Well, like the and just a lot of worshiping. On the 10th day of Dashain, known as Vijay Dasami, we have Tika and Zamara, and this is the most important day of the festival, and I think this year it's on the 24th. And this is where all the family members gather for this special occasion where elders get to put Tika, this red one right here, and it's a mixture of rice, yogurt, and vermilion. And you get to put it, they put it on your head, and we have Jamara, which is that right there, and you put it Jamara on like on top of your ears, or you can like clip it on your head to the forehead of younger members, and this is kind of giving them blessing, being like, I hope you have a good year, praying that they have good health, prosperity, and a long life. And this is like an exchange of love and respect as well. And the youngest person in the family also does this for the oldest person, which when it was my younger sister, it was really cute because she had the tiniest hands and she would try to put it on my grandpa, and it was like adorable. So animal sacrifice, this is also very exclusive to Nepal, I think. I don't think India's ever done that.
We have like no meat.
So in some communities, especially in like rural areas, because this is kind of dying down now, animal sacrifices are performed as a part of the ritual. It's mostly goats, or buffaloes, and we kind of like, it's kind of like a sacrifice to show, we're kind of like pretending that the goat or the buffalo is Mahishasura, and like someone gets to kill it, kind of like how Durga Mata killed him. And after that, we just eat it. It's really good. But in recent years, there's been a growing movement towards more humane celebrations where we don't kill animals as much, which always supporting. Family reunions is also a big thing during this time. There's literally so many songs about this in Nepal. Like, I think Nepal's like biggest song industry is about how you want people to come back for Dashain, and it's just really cool. This because considering Hinduism places such an importance on the aspect of family and family relations, having your family around this time is incredibly important. And this is when like people living in the U.S., let's say, go back to Nepal to celebrate, or like because people study away from Nepal all the time, so they'll come back during this time to celebrate, and they return to like their villages. Like even people from the cities will go to their villages, and this is just kind of a time for family reunions and strengthening familial ties. This was when my grandparents came here, and we finally got to celebrate with them after like 4 years of not being able to do that. So
nice, good for you.
Yeah. Flying kites is also really popular during this time. Literally all the ads you'll see on TV involve someone flying a kite, and it's very popular among children and like younger people. And there will be a lot of power outages because the kites will get caught in water. But it's okay. It's fun, so I completely get it. I'm not good at it, but I get it. Peace, again, important part of Dashain. Unlike India, we do kind of eat a lot of meat during this time. Goat meat, especially. Super religious people don't, but this is like an important part, especially like especially among the younger people. It's like, oh, you get to eat meat and you like get to shop during this time, and it's like super important. And like goat meat and chicken are super popular during this time, and like my dad cooks amazing goat meat, so it's just amazing. I always love it. Cultural performances, again, super popular. This was when I was like 8, I think, in my school where we had a cultural performance.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm like right here. Ignore my bangs. I cut them myself. But yeah, there's lots of programs. My school used to have like an annual event every year, and you'd have all these like singing and dancing and like speeches and stuff where everyone in the community is like welcome to like come in and talk about, you know, kind of what they feel how they feel their year went and what they're hoping for and how they'll like lead prayers in front of everyone, and it's amazing. Shopping is also a big thing in Nepal for Dashain. Like it's kind of like how Christmas is here. It's like a commercial holiday as well, but it's mostly for clothes. Like a thing that you do in Dashain is wear new clothes.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like welcoming a new version of yourself. So people go shopping all the time, and I haven't done that yet, so I should. But that's also something that's like really exciting to younger people because it's like, oh, I get new clothes, that's so fun. Paying respects is also a big thing around this time. It's common for younger family members to visit the homes of older family members and touch their feet as a sign of respect. This was my sister. I didn't let her touch my feet, but I was like blessing her with my hand.
How much younger is she than you?
She's 2.5 years younger.
Yeah, she doesn't need to touch your
Yeah,
feet when she's only that much.
Yeah, and like you'll see this between husbands and wife as well. And it's just like a sign of respect, showing that you respect the other person, and the older person is kind of like blessing them, because in Hinduism it's a big thing that older people are wiser and they have more power, kind of. So it's important that you get blessings from them, and it's just really fun. And then giving back and again community activities. This is a charity event that my sister did. She's over here. She was singing, and this was kind of like a fundraiser they did in order to buy clothes for people that couldn't afford them for Dashain, which was super fun. This was also hosted by my school, but again, this is something huge that happens where you give back to the community, you show appreciation, and you show that you care for people around you. And it's always appreciated. I have some pictures of other Dashain celebrations. This was when I was like 3 or 4. I can't remember. Yeah, that's how they put tika and jamara. The jamara like goes on the side of your ears. If you can't do that, you just clip it on your head because mine never sticks. Here's my grandparents were praying for it, and my sister fell asleep. But to be fair, she was like 8 months old, so that's fair. But she looks adorable. This is my sister and I when we were celebrating. My mom just tied it to her hair because she was not gonna let it stay in the side of her ears.
It kind of looks like Krishna, the hair on.
This was the first time we celebrated Dashain without our family, so we did a Zoom call together. While we were putting tika on. This is when my baby cousin first got to celebrate it with everyone. She was the center of attention because she was the youngest at the time, and she was so confused, but it was so fun. This is like better pictures of us in school. Again, ignore my bangs, but we had these like big community events where everyone was welcome, and we would have a lot of food out for people. And we would usually try to welcome those that didn't have family to go to, or that like had family, but like they were too far away. So we'd welcome them and ask them to celebrate with us, and it was super fun. This is like one of my favorite parts. It's this thing called a lingibing, and it's made out of bamboo, and it's like completely handmade. And in Nepal, this goes up every Dashain, and it's there for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I don't know how much I trust them, but they're so fun. And they're swings, but you stand on them. And there's like I've seen like 2 people do it once. This was my dad on one of those. He looks very happy. But I don't know how safe they are, but they're incredibly fun. And this is like one of the things I miss most, is how fun it would be to like line up with all your friends, because they would be busy all the time. They would count how many times you went, because it would be that busy, and they're like, okay, everyone needs a turn.
I would be scared if I fell off though.
Yeah.
Look at the view of it. It looks like a drop.
Yeah, they're super fun though, and I definitely encourage everyone to go to like Nepal or India around this time, because it'll be like unlike anything you've ever seen. It's so much music and dancing, and literally everyone is like celebrating everything at this time, and it's just so cool to see. I have some videos I want to show you. So I have one of Garba. This is a Bollywood version of Garba. So it's like
no, it's not totally true.
It's not completely true, and it's also
over exaggerated.
That, and it's also like professionals doing it, so it's not like this in real life, but it's still very fun. From what I've seen. So I'm gonna show you one once it loads.
Oh, it's so pretty though. Look at their dresses. You dress so nicely.
Just a second. I don't know how to.
You might have to.
Yeah. Give me just a second, sorry.
No, no worries.
Yeah, now I should be able to.
You're making me miss go to Danya now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ever get to actually do Dandiya or Garba, but we still had so many dances and celebrations that it kind of feels
And
like
it was
it.
kind of like messy though, because we didn't know what we were doing, but it was so fun.
Yeah. Okay, is there any video? That you usually wear around this time are very heavy. So by the end of the day, your feet will like be gone. They hurt so bad, but it's totally worth it. And again, this is just a way of celebrating the divine feminine. Mostly because I've seen a lot more women do this than men, and it's just a big testament to show how much we appreciate what she did, and how we're celebrating the goodness and all that. There's also another thing that's super popular, and it's called the Mangal Dhoon, and this is really popular in Nepal. And this is like the song that plays when you do all the rituals and everything in Nepal. And Mangal means because they can't be with us, so we're kind of celebrating their memory. And there are specific days, again following the lunar calendar. So my great grandma passed away on like a specific day, and like 2 weeks before Dashain, one of those days you celebrate her death, and it's kind of like not like celebrate, but kind of remember her life and kind of just show that you miss her, and that you hope that she's in a better place now. But yeah, that's all the fun stuff. Do you guys have any questions or anything?
Thank you.
When was the last time you were in Nepal?
I have not been back since I came here.
Mhm.
Everyone else in my family's gone back, especially around this time, but I've always had like midterms and like exams and all that, so I couldn't really go
No,
back.
and
But
it's so hard. Like actually, like before we went last summer, it was like 6 years was the last time we got to
yeah,
go to India.
I haven't
It
been
was
back.
like crazy.
And it's been like 7 years, but thankfully my grandparents are able to travel here.
Yeah,
they're
same.
healthy, so they can travel here and like we don't have to worry too much about it. But this is like a big family thing, like your extended family's involved. So I do kind of miss having everyone around, but it's still really nice that I get to have my grandparents around for this. Usually either my uncle will come to Little Rock or we'll go to LA to celebrate with them as well. Sometimes we have my uncle from like Philadelphia join in, but it's a big family thing, so you want as many people as you want to be involved.
Oh yeah. This is more, I guess, like a political question or like environmental question, but you say that they're celebrating like that divine feminine energy overcoming evil. Is
Yeah.
that like reflected in the society, do you think?
Not yet, but I think it's definitely going towards that. Before it used to kind of, I think this was like before the British influence, it was mostly equal.
Right.
But after that, even though Nepal wasn't like invaded by the British, it was still affected very much by it because we are so closely related to India. Like we share the same culture and everything. So there was a big influence. But now I think they're getting better. Like women are more involved in political stuff. And you know, our prime minister was a woman, and it's like more women are like being encouraged to join stuff and they're given more rights. And it's definitely seen more. But in their religion itself, men and women are equal. So it's kind of like, why are we not doing that in society? But it's not my place to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that our culture is conservative, but like religious and like religiously, we're like men and women. We have like many. I would consider like Durga and all of them forms of God.
Yeah.
We do have one
Yeah.
God, but like what I'm saying is the fact that we have like a feminine energy too and masculine energy, like that shows a lot in our
Not
religion.
only that, but we kind of also have like a combination of two. And I think Hindu culture, like religion, was one of the first to acknowledge a third gender, where it was like,
Oh yeah, we have an intersex/trans person in
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita, by
and
the way.
it's
Fun fact.
which again, because of the British, it wasn't like a socially accepted thing. But in the religion itself, transgender people and like are like celebrated because they're seen as having both the Shakti and the Shiva in them. So it's kind of like a celebrated thing. But
And I mean also like
British is not like that. So
it was in the Mahabharata, which has to do with Krishna.
yeah.
But it was cool. It was cool. The point was like when the war, like it was men, obviously they were warring, but then she wanted to take revenge on one of the people on the bad side and and so she then kind of made herself into a man. And then like apparently the man was so beautiful that it distracted that person. And then there was like from the good side, someone like shot an arrow and then defeated. So yeah, basically.
Yeah, in Hinduism it's never been like one above the other. It's kind of been like you can't have one without the other. There's a story of where Shiva and Shakti fought, and Shakti was like disappointed, so she just like disappeared for a bit, and it literally caused like all of Earth to starve. So it was like, you know, you can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I
So that's what I love about our religion and God and everything.
And it's also that gods and goddesses can take so many different forms that you don't have to kind of pick one, I guess.
Yeah.
Really
And then this is another like misconception is that people say, even like dictionary.com says that Hinduism is a polytheistic, it's monotheistic. But when it comes to energy and stuff, we have different forms of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's what I love.
Because it's all Brahman.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like it's kind of like a big ocean, and everyone else is just like drops in the ocean.
I think Brahma is like the creator. He created the universe. So, yeah.
I've heard that like, you know, he was everything, and then like through enlightenment he kind of like split up, and then now everything in existence is trying to reach the same enlightenment.
Again, it's kind of like the whole like water cycle thing. Like you're eventually going to join the ocean. It might take like forever, but you'll join. Which I absolutely love, because I think it gives the people a chance to like make mistakes, but also have a chance to like
Redeem yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, the cycle of rebirth, yeah. But anyway, I
How
can
is it-
speak, but it's you, so. No, sorry.
How is the story of the demon told? Like, where does the demon come from? How to get its power? Like,
So
why
demons.
why did someone not prevent him earlier?
Okay, so again, it's like if you pray enough, you can genuinely get everything. That's kind of like the thing. And demons are also like there's good demons and bad demons. So it's like interesting because you don't
It
see
is.
that. Mhm.
Explain, please.
There are some that did help gods and goddesses, and other than demons, there's also like animal human wars
Like
that happen.
Is
Like
that how demons are depicted?
demons, yeah, they're seen as like having horns and like terrifying teeth and like red
10
faces.
heads, 10
yeah.
heads, that was Robin, 10 heads.
And if you pray enough, like gods are very powerful, but there are also demons that are way too powerful.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you show dedication and show that you, because demons still pray to gods. So once they have one god that they pray a lot to, and they're like devoted to them and they meditate, it's called tapasya. And once you do that for long enough, they have to kind of grant your wishes. And that's kind of been like the source of all problems in Hinduism.
Yeah.
Because
you're
that
right.
also happened with Ravan, is where he like
Oh my goodness.
yeah. They'll and like they kind of don't have a choice; they have to grant your wish.
I mean, it's kind of like if you pray and if you show that your devotion to us, then we have to bless you because God loves everyone. It's kind of like that.
There's
right?
no like difference in the person, so
I don't meditate for 100 years, but if they
Yeah,
do
it's-
that, then they deserve to have a
when I was
bonus.
younger, I used to think you could meditate for like 5 minutes and it worked. No, it's like thousands. I tried so hard, guys. It's like thousands of years of meditation, and usually it's in like this cold mountain somewhere. So it's a
Himachal
lot.
Parbat, maybe?
Yeah, it's shown as having a lot of dedication towards something, and then if you show that you have that, they kind of don't really.
So
Judge.
even like in the demon's case, it's not like it's like by their nature
No.
they're evil.
No.
There's like if you
They're-
act in a certain
Mhm.
way, you
Yeah.
too can become good
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
sense of getting.
they
blessed.
have a chance. Like
Yeah.
they're not born evil. They're kind of like they're more prone to being evil because other demons are evil as well. But it's not like their nature itself,
Okay.
which is also pretty cool because.
I don't know, I love the lore in Hinduism.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You'll see that kind of like being the problem with everything though, is like demons will have too much dedication and they'll end up getting their wishes, and it's like, oh well, now it's a problem.
We're screwed.
And it usually ends up being the same gods that help them that have to end up destroying them. So
It's true.
it's definitely interesting.
I don't know, I feel like Shiva is also there. Brahma has granted boons. Yeah, but I mean, everyone prays to Shiva for some reason. I think it's the destroyer, right? Shiva the destroyer. So
Yeah, there's
Oh,
three
why?
parts. Brahma is known as the creator. Vishnu is the one that preserves everything that's going on right now, and Shiva, everyone knows like his third eye. He's known as the destroyer. So most people just pray to him and they end up getting their wishes. Because he has so much power.
I know.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah. And the whole thing about gods coming to Earth every once in a while is when something evil happens. There's different eons or yugs, as we call it. And so in every eon, the way it ends is that something evil, like someone very evil, comes out and it's like terrorizing everyone to the point where like the gods are also affected by it, and so they'll send someone. And once the destruction happens, that's when a whole new eon starts. I think this one is called the Kali Yuga, which is really bad because this kind of like is like the end. But again, apparently there were like thousands of eons before us, so we can't tell for sure. There's no like definitive end.
In this context, when good conquers evil, does it also involve like potentially redefining what the good is, or
Yeah.
like making new values entirely?
I think that happens every time there's a new like evil being. Most of the time when we talk about evil, it's when the demons kind of like don't show any respect. There's like killing going on because Hinduism is very anti-killing.
Yeah.
So like the whole killing.
I feel like it's a big sin if you kill
Yeah,
someone.
killing is like the worst thing, and the
Yes.
main thing that defines demons is that they don't hesitate to kill anything.
Huh.
So that's like one of the big things is like when people are being terrorized in a way where they feel like they're gonna die at any moment, you know, it's kind of like a bad thing. So yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah, so does like a new demon like mark a new eon?
Not all the time, but most of the time, yeah. If it's like, because there's demons and there's like kings of demons, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's like the normal demons that run around just doing stuff. And like those are demons that like normal people can kill as well. But when it's comes to demons like Maishisuga, it's like that's one of like the big ones, and that's when the gods have to come down.
I meant like big baddie. Like,
Yeah. Most of the time when it's like the big bad demons, that means it's the start of a new era.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of when it's like all going to hell, kind of like Earth is like not a good place to live
Yeah.
at that moment. So they're kind of like, okay, we're starting over. So yeah, that's kind of how that goes. But it's super fun. Again, if you like this story, Ramayana is also kind of similar in the sense that there was an evil dude.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
Evil
you
demon,
said.
and then a god has to come down, take the form of a human, and kill him. It's the same with Krishna as well.
Oh, I
so-
love Krishna. He's so amazing. I'm sorry. Okay, he's so yeah.
Krishna is, I think, the most popular one because he takes the form of a human and he's like a little child and he's killing all these demons. So
Yeah,
he's, like,
another thing is, have you noticed that like out of all the lore, it's like he's lucky but not that lucky. You know, he doesn't like naturally have it. Like he actually has to like keep on like he unlike just being born in a really good family, like his life is so sad, okay?
yeah, and it's also because he's a kid when he's born, you know, most people, I guess. But he's a very young child and he's killing all these demons and he's known for like his mischief and like him just being a kid instead of
Right, he
presenting
has
as a god.
flaws. He
So
has
that's
flaws.
also why like kids are valued so much. It's like kids are portrayed as forms of Krishna. Like my younger sister got to play as Krishna in a play.
I know because it's just so cute.
Yeah,
It's
and
like-
they're shown as like these innocent creatures that also hold a lot of power because they're so innocent. Is that like they don't have any flaws yet. So that's kind of really important too. And he's kind of like one of the most popular ones. And all the depictions you see of him, you'll see him as a kid most of the time, like a crawling baby. Actually.
with the peacock feather on his
Yeah,
head. That's how
and-
we know it's Krishna.
Yeah,
The peacock feather.
and he's mostly blue.
Yeah,
So-
well, I mean, and he's also like he steals from other
Yeah,
people,
like he's
which is something which other gods like or other forms of god in their lore, they're like perfect human beings, but he has so many flaws,
Yeah,
and it's so amazing.
he's
to
shown
actually
as a kid, like
Yeah.
he'll steal, he'll lie, and do
He's
all
still
that
like
stuff.
learning how to be good.
And
Yeah.
also the day that my surgery was successful was actually his birthday, so that's also why I really like him.
Yeah, and
but
it's kind of I think because he's the most human of all the gods, I think that's kind of why we relate to him so much. Is that
Yeah.
even though he has flaws, like you know, in his heart he's still good.
yeah.
And like all the stuff he's doing is not like harming someone in a way that's like hard to fix. Like he'll steal like makhan, which is like butter.
Butter and
He's
sugar.
known for stealing
Yeah.
butter and sugar and just eating it. So
And
it's
it's
like,
yeah,
and he's a kid, so it's like no one can get mad
no
at him.
one cares.
So you know, he has like shenanigans. think-
Shenanigans.
I think he's seen as the most relatable one
Yeah.
out of all of them.
Also, I just love how he always has a peacock feather because they're pretty. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
So like in during this time,
Mhm.
what sort of personal reflection is going on? Usually for people who are like kind of practicing the are they contemplating good and evil? Are they like going through like what have I done that was good? What have I done
Yeah.
that was evil? Or is there that kind of thing too?
There's also that my grandma encourages that a lot most of the time. When you go to worship, you're kind of like asking for forgiveness and kind of asking for like a new start. Again with like wearing the new clothes and all, you're kind of like reinventing yourself around this time. And there's definitely the asking for forgiveness from everything, but there's also like hoping that you and your family live like a long life and that you're healthy and all. Because that used to be again like having enough food, asking for prosperity was one of the biggest things. Because it used to be such a big deal that there would be like famines and all that. I think it also affected that. It's a time of reinvention, but it's also a time of like hoping you have a better year, kind of. Mhm. Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, again, since it's so family related, most people try to go back to their families. And it's just really nice. And like again, most of the songs in Nepal are about going back to family during Dashain, and it's like
Right. And India too.
yeah.
And also, doesn't your mom get so paranoid about cleaning? Because my mom is like telling all of us to just constantly like clean this, clean that. Our house is always so messy all the time. Yeah,
It's cleaning your house is a big thing because again, you're kind of reinventing yourself, starting off with a clean slate, kind of, and you're also trying to welcome the goddess into your house so that she can bless you. That's why like everything's like super neat and tidy. Like my mom will not let anything go out of her sight. It's crazy, but it's also I totally understand why she does that.
Of course.
This also happens during Diwali.
Oh,
Everything is
goodness,
cleaned
oh
up.
my
Like there's
God,
not a
always.
speck of dust anywhere. It is all shining and bright.
So germs are demons then.
Kind of, yeah, because they
Yeah.
carry sickness, so causing sickness is also like a demon thing to do. Which is also like so random because they're known like if you get like if there's like a plague or something, people blame it on the demons. So it's like okay, well, I guess
Are
they
they-
did that.
Are the demons depicted as like disgusting?
Kind of, yeah. They're known for being slobby
Mhm.
and just leaving messes everywhere.
And I feel like blood comes like I don't know. The way they're depicted is like blood coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why like killing people is seen as like a bad thing because one, it's also they just depicted as gross. So when they do show demons, they'll show them with like skeleton necklaces and it's like super random.
Oh, I mean maybe, yeah.
Like carcasses.
Yeah. And when like times are truly evil and there's like bad things going on, they'll in the writings it's shown as like there's like human carcasses and like dead bodies everywhere. And that's how you know it's like bad.
That's a bad era.
Yeah, I mean I think that would be terrible. But yeah, when there's like that's why killing things is just like a big no one. It's saying like an uncleanly thing to do. So it's like you just try not to kill stuff. But yeah, cleaning is a big part of all this.
Can you say more about the music in Nepal? Like,
Oh my god, yeah.
what are the instruments and like is it outside? And
Well, yeah, is
small
it like in
groups? Is it,
India where there's the sitars and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sitar is like it's a string instrument. It's pretty cool. There's also the harmonium.
Yes, there you go.
Super popular. There's this tabla.
The tabla is like the drums. Yeah.
It's two drums. One of my friends knew how to play it really well, and I was always jealous of him. But that's also really cool. Tabla and like there's this thing called madal. I think this is just a Nepal thing. It's kind of like the drums, but it's like in a cylinder, and you hold it like two sides, and then you like.
No,
hit
I think
the
that's in India too.
Okay.
But I don't know. I've never.
Flute is also a big thing. Especially in weddings, you'll see more like live music than actual like recorded music. So you'll see people like literally walking with a live band behind them, and it's really cool. Most of the music is, I think, especially in Nepal, it's centered around nature. So older songs specifically used to start with like a bird chirping most of the time, because that's what was seen as like the beginning of something good. It mostly tries to follow like natural sounds, and kind of like based off of that. If you look up like Nepali Dashain songs, it's a lot of like religious songs in Nepal and India. They're songs that you can like dance to. They're not. They're usually not slow. Mostly because dancing is seen as such a big part of our religion. It's, like,
Especially in South India.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
in like religious like pujas and all that, you'll see people getting up and dancing in the middle of like nowhere. There's a bhajan going on, and it's encouraged because it's seen as like you're being so moved by the music and by your devotion that you're dancing. So they're usually songs that you can dance to and that you can like enjoy. So yeah, it's not sad.
I will say my parents like call me every day for Navratri, and the prayer that we do, like the bhajan, has my name in it.
That's cool.
And so every single and then my dad has to emphasize it. He like emphasizes it. I'm like, oh yeah. Like so I love this holiday because I just feel like it's very I mean, I know my name means something that would be in a prayer, but it just feels like even more closer.
Yeah.
And then it's also nice you dance to. You can dance to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the music and everything, it's sweet. There's not just like one song that kind of outrules all of them. There's so many different ones. There's like so many artists, and they come out with like new ones every year.
Mhm.
But there's like the classic ones that everyone knows. So
Oh yeah.
But yeah, music and dancing is a big part of being Hindu itself, so it's a big thing.
Was the music modernized in any way? Like,
Definitely. There's definitely newer songs, which I don't know how I feel about it, but it's
They're
still pretty cool.
westernized. They're becoming more western.
Yeah, which is
also.
a complaint that I hear from my grandma all the time.
I know. Do you see what they're
Um,
like? The way they're dressing is like so like Western Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer the long skirts. It's like the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which, again, my grandma complains about all the time. I personally think that you can worship in any way you want.
exactly.
But there's yeah, it's definitely becoming more Western, which it's really cool because you can see more like Western influence come in, and you will hear like the instruments that you don't usually hear, which is really cool because it's like a mix of both.
Yeah.
I personally think it's good, but if you ask my grandma, she'd say no.
See, the thing is, I think it's your culture too, is because our culture is kind of conservative in
Yeah.
some ways. So
And sometimes.
So is it like electronic beats? Like,
Yeah, you'll hear a lot more of those now, which I think sounds pretty cool.
yeah, I think it's
but-
like modern though, because back in the day, I think it was mostly classical.
Yeah,
and like electric guitar or what?
Wait, really?
yeah, there's been some. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and you'll also see these in movies too, in Bollywood too, like Hindu, because India and Nepal are both very Hindu state countries. You see it a lot in movies. And one thing I like about Nepal is that you can like Nepal and India. It's kind of like you can have idols and you can like have figurines and you can worship figurines without it seeming like too materialistic.
I mean, because you're not worshiping the idols, you're worshiping what they represent, and that's what people don't understand.
And it's really cool, and I like that my family used to be involved in plays like all the time, depicting certain stuff that happened. Like my sister was Baby Krishna for like 3 years in a row, and it was just really cool. It's just really nice. I think it's a really good way of preserving the culture as well, getting more younger people involved and being like, hey, this is really cool. You should try to audition for this.
Do you know like Chinmay Mission? They go everywhere talking about Hinduism and doing like plays and stuff. It's in here. It's in
Yeah.
Arkansas, so just like
Yeah, you can definitely see that it's becoming more modern, especially with the rise of LGBTQ people getting rights in Nepal and India.
oh
You can see that. I like that Hinduism is like becoming more relevant because you can see that like in like in the religion they don't really care, like love is love kind of thing.
yeah.
Because love is kind of seen as like the overall force of everything. So it's kind of like they don't care what form it's in.
There's
as
no
long as
gay
it's not
people,
hate.
but there's
Yeah,
no
as long as it's not
people
like
aren't
hate, they don't really care.
No one cares.
Can you tell me more about the non-binary gods?
Yeah, okay, so they're kind of seen as like a mix of both Shakti and Shiva. I can't remember specific ones, but I do know they're mentioned in either the Mahabharata.
Holika, remember Holy?
Mhm.
Yeah, remember he
Holika,
comes down. Yeah,
That was
I think he's
so-
non-binary,
In
but he's
order to celebrate Holi,
yeah.
the story behind it is that again, it was the demon that kind of said that no man or woman could kill me. So the gods come down as like kind of like a mix of both
Yeah, they're like
together.
So it's kind of like not exactly non-binary, but they're coming as a mix of like two different things.
Yeah.
And they're like coming down and defeating him because the demon needs to be burnt in a fire. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Again, it's
Yeah.
there's no like one thing or the other. You can have both. Which is really cool because you know you don't really see that with a lot of ancient culture. But considering like Hinduism is one of the oldest and they've always accepted that this is a part of life, is really cool to me. So yeah.
I know, I love that. And I love Holi and I love all of these festivals. So I feel like energy is more important than like figuring out which god has what gender, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
like the energy that the god gives you is like very important.
Yeah, it's also important to not mix the culture in Nepal and India with the actual religion itself.
Oh
Because
yeah.
again, the culture was
Is
influenced so
conservative.
much by the British that again, like gay people did have rights before in India, but it was like when the British came in, it was kind of seen as such like a big shameful.
It was
thing.
illegal to be gay until like very recently. in
Yeah,
India,
so it was
actually.
like now it's becoming more relevant, and we see people like shifting away from the British values to more towards what Hinduism at its root actually is, which is really cool because it's just spreading love. So you know, always appreciate it.
I don't know. That's what I love is like we don't have specific things on like what people Well, we do have what people can do, but not exactly like a certain group of people, you know? It's just like everything.
Yeah, and again, there's always chance for redemption, so even if you like mess up bad, you have another life to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
I mean, unless like, I mean, yeah, I guess.
but I don't know how much I believe in this, but in reincarnation it's like if you mess up really bad, like you end up hurting a lot of people, you kind of end up being born in like a less preferable situation.
Like a cockroach, which can
Yeah.
die at any moment.
Yeah,
instead
so
of it-
again, that's one of the biggest things for why we don't kill animals is that reincarnation. So they could have been people before, so it's like, don't harm stuff because they might have been people.
I mean, in India, they don't, but here,
Yeah,
you have no choice. You have no choice because they're in your home and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, a big thing is like there's one of the gurus. He used to like wear a mask and like walk barefoot. He used to wear a mask so that no insect would accidentally fly into his mouth whenever he was giving speeches, because that was like a big no. Like he didn't want to kill anything, and he'd walk barefoot so he could feel the earth and also not step on anything, which is really cool because again, like they could have been people before. And you just try not to harm anything because killing is just a big no.
Yeah, because I try to not kill like. Okay, well, I'm not gonna say it because. I mean, I just feel like I'm guilty of killing insects too.
Yeah, go on, Joseph.
How do they view, like non-animal life? Like, how do people view, like plants and stuff?
Nature is a big part. Again, cleanliness also involves the environment. So you, I know there was a big thing in India going on about this, but you try to keep your environment clean and you take care of it. Plants are seen as a big important thing, and it's kind of a thing. We kind of think that like God resides in everything, and that also involves plants. So you try not to cut down plants, and we have flowers around our house so that it's more welcoming to the gods, so they can reside in the flowers, and like anything nature related you have in your house is very appreciated. It's a very nature based religion. Like we try not to harm plants or animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like really nice.
Or
Because-
Joseph, are you asking, you try not to kill animals because they're living
Yes, that
creatures,
Oh,
but
oh.
you still, but they're
Yeah.
still plants, so how is
plants-
that different?
If it's like if you have to find somewhere to live and like a tree's kind of like on that spot, you're okay to do that. If it's like necessary for your survival and like you have to eat, so you're allowed to do that. But if it's not necessary, they kind of discourage it. Like if you have to kill plant, like I don't know, for rice, like you have to cut down the plants. You're allowed to do that, but again, if it's only for survival and if you need it, if it's kind of like just to waste it, it's like okay, well, don't do that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
people aren't reincarnated as plants.
No, no, plants are kind of just seen as like there's specific trees that are considered holy.
The banyan tree.
Yeah, and you'll see people like take string and like wrap it around, asking for prayer, like just praying and like wishing for stuff. And you'll also see that if you go to Nepal or India, like some trees have like vermilion on them from all the praying and all that. So yeah, we believe that God resides in everything, but it's also specific trees. So yeah.
Are they rare?
No, you can plant them all the time. I don't know why most people don't, but if it wasn't planted there and it's been there for a while, it's kind of seen as like,
Yeah, if it's
well,
like really old.
like, yeah,
also.
there's
Trees
like
that
1,000-year-old trees
Yeah.
that people will not ever get rid of because they're seen as such important parts of the neighborhood and like the society. And all
Yeah,
that.
because we went somewhere in South India, and I think that tree was over 1,000 years old or something. We all posed there. And all.
Yeah, you can always plant them, but it's more impressive when they've been there for. Yeah. Anything else? Well, this is really fun.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Next Wednesday, we have a Steel Center guest.
That.
Dr.
okay.
Esther Mambo will be visiting, so, it'll be a Wednesday afternoon discussion on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, right? And then Thursday night at 7, she'll be giving a lecture. Where is that again? Mills A.
I'm just glad I came because this is the first time I've
Thanks.
come this year. I think, thank you